Good morning. What does it mean when someone says, have a blessed day, or I am so blessed, or God has richly blessed me? When a sports figure, after a big victory, says, I just want to thank God who blessed us with this win, does that mean that God did not bless the other team? Did God have anything to do with it? You know, we might come back from a trip to a third world country or a poorer country, and we innocently say, I feel so blessed to live in our country. Does one have wealth because God blessed them, but not those who don't have wealth? Are we blessed more than others because we don't have the hardships that other people have? Do you see how we can get into some theological trouble here? We can think of God as a blessing machine where if you have fewer struggles and more riches and more success, God has just poured more blessings upon you. You know, Jesus said in the Gospel of Luke, he said, blessed are you who are poor. And then he turned around and said, woe to you who are rich. So having material abundance is clearly not what being blessed means. This Sunday, we responsively read Psalm 34 in our worship, and it begins with this phrase, I will bless the Lord at all times. Now, the phrase bless the Lord is often found in Scripture, but we believe God has everything. God doesn't need anything. So what does it mean to bless the Lord? I mean, God blesses us. How can we bless God? Well, let's step back and consider what blessing means in the Scriptures. The very first blessing in the Bible is when God blesses the animals. He blesses them and tells them to go be fruitful and multiply. God gives the animals the ability to give life to others. So blessing in the Scripture, it's about being fruitful in life, meaning to give life to others. That happens when we procreate, but it's not limited to procreation. When Jesus begins his Sermon on the Mount, he begins with a series of blessings called the Beatitudes. You may have heard them. He says things like, blessed are the meek, or blessed are the merciful, or blessed are the peacemakers. Well, the word for blessed in these Beatitudes is closer to happiness, but happiness isn't quite sufficient either. By blessed or happiness, what Jesus means is a deep contentment, more like an interior joy that overflows and gives life to oneself and to others. It's a flourishing of life. But what does it mean to bless God? Like when the psalmist says, I will bless the Lord at all times. Well, it means to shower God with the joy of life that God has given you, to return the joy that God gave you, to return the life that God gave you and offer it back to God. And the best way to bless God is by loving God and loving our neighbor as God commanded us to do. You know, the key to happiness is to give life to others. The key to happiness is to give yourself away to others. If you want to be happy, give. So it's much more accurate biblically to say that you are blessed because you shower life on God and others, not because you receive and have abundantly. You know, there's so much unhappiness in the world. It makes me so sad to see this. And part of the problem is that the world exalts things like money, power, success, and image as the way to happiness. And people look at that and they compare their life to that and they think they can't have happiness because they don't have all that and they don't measure up to all that. But the joy of the gospel of Jesus Christ is that you can have an abundant life no matter your life circumstances. You can have a flourishing life no matter how little you have. Whether you are rich, powerful, successful, or not, the joy of life comes from the God who gave us life. And our joy is measured by how much of that life we return to God and to others. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. I hope you have a great week. God bless.